Right. And you know what? This isn't just a slogan. Creating the best version of your personal and professional life, that's, anybody can just say that. But when you put a framework behind it, Rachel, as you were asking, that's where it starts to, where the rubber meets the road, right? And actually, it's funny enough, I literally just heard this today. And I'm not trying to promote ZipRecruiter, but they have a Be Seen First now application for anybody looking for a job to put out a video to show their enthusiasm, one of my E's that I've been preaching about forever, which everybody kind of gave me a hard time a little bit about. Why you have enthusiasm on there and eager? I tell you what, if you don't have enthusiasm for what you're trying to achieve, if you don't have eagerness for what you're trying to show a client or a prospective new hire, they're not going to want to take the job, or you're not going to get the job, you're not going to land the sale. That's where this all starts. So this framework isn't just about, building relationships, it's building yourself inward and then outward to anyone that you come in contact with. You guys have already asked me, and in the last group of leaders I talked to, I asked them, how much longer are you guys gonna go before you realize you're losing ROI, your return on investment for all your training and all of everything that you're putting out there to your clients? It's if the person delivering it doesn't have the right attitude, doesn't show up with the right charisma, and doesn't do that consistently, then they're not gonna win. So it doesn't matter how much training you put out there, you're gonna start losing money. And the fact that I just heard ZipRecruiter put out an ad on Sirius Radio about candidates are 9 to 10 times more likely to hire a person that shows enthusiasm, not just enthusiasm, but authentic enthusiasm. That's where the rubber meets the road, and they're remembered. So if one of the most sought after recruiting platforms out there is now developed a feature for you to be able to put yourself on camera to show how much you want the job, don't you think that resonates with not just the job market, but with any industry, any professional athletic program, anybody that's trying to sell a product, anybody trying to sell a service, anybody trying to grow themselves? Hell, it doesn't matter. If you don't have a framework to follow that allows you to become consistent, as you asked earlier, then it's really hard for anyone to build trust. I talk about being consistent. I talk about being adaptable. I talk about being reliable, and then I talk about executing, the 4 primary foundations to my care framework, right? And it is all in my book that I wrote. Every chapter has one of these attributes, the title of it. And so it really does take you through kind of like a growth program, right? And it's not just hyperbole. This is proven. I've been doing this for 25 years. And in every situation, I ask managers why they chose us, why they chose me, more importantly. And every answer had something to do with one of those attributes that is now on my care framework. So I ask all of you, do you want to keep losing money by going after a sell and never getting to the finish line, and you can't quite figure out why? That's money lost. Money gained is having a framework where that person walking in to that meeting is ready to go. They're building the best version of themselves personally, and they can share that. Being a little bit vulnerable works. You know how many times I shared my story? Yeah, I've had 4 knee replacements. And I share it because you know what? It can build some relatability. Another one of my attributes that's so key. Or the fact that I've lost 70 pounds and changed a lot of the habits in my life. Your clients want to know that. So if you're just going in there with a brochure and it's glossy and flashy and you think that's going to work, and you've got all the AI tools now to tell you during the meeting how you're doing, and that is exhausting because it's not authentic. It's not you. So anybody doing this, I liken it to any professional athlete. Every single play is an interview. Every single play is a new opportunity for you to execute. Transition that to the professional world where you're trying to sell a product or a service. Every single interaction is another opportunity. And so why not be a little bit energized and enthusiastic for what you're doing? Jesus, that's why they would hire you. That's why they use you. So I do get very passionate about this because it has worked. And by the way, being eager is so important. Taking notes, yeah. You know what? There's an AI program out there that can probably help you take notes. That's so lazy. pull out your notepad, I have a Remarkable, works great. Pull out whatever you have and show the respect to the person sitting across from you that you want to take notes yourself. That you're just not going to have them dictated back to you by another AI platform. I've talked about this in past speeches. AI can get you to the meeting, but right there it stops. It can't get you through the meeting. But they're trying to. They're trying to give you the ability to look back and tell, some algorithm's going to tell you how that person felt about you. That is not how you're going to be able to grow or sustain not only your own personal life, but the company you work for and the growth within it. So whether you're a professional athlete, whether you're a student that's just getting ready to graduate, whether you've already graduated, you're mid-career and you're still trying to figure out how to do this the right way, man, I tell you what, show some enthusiasm. Be eager. I have 4 attributes within my framework, okay, that are the foundation for any company. And that is, obviously, I've said this over and over again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but what the hell? To be consistent, to be adaptable, to be reliable, and to execute. That should be on every single website. That should be every single mission statement, because it's talking about what the client needs. It's not about your needs. It's not about how you're building your own brand up. Your brand is how you deliver to your client. Your brand it's everything. And if you're not consistent, and if you're not being adaptable to what the client's timeframes might change, the rec might change, the need for the product might change, the volume might change, timelines and everything, and you're thinking about your wallet. So, and they can see that a mile away as well. So again, Rachel, to go back to your question, this isn't just a tagline to build yourself personally so that professionally you can grow. This has been my life. And it's been basically a life filled of gathering research, gathering data, realizing that enthusiasm matters, right? Relatability matters. So the 4 foundational pieces are so important. But I have 8 other attributes within this framework that are key to developing the proper relationships, the proper execution, the proper reliability, to be relatable, to be adaptable, right? To show respect, to show compassion, to actually be listening to someone enough to show compassion, to realize that maybe they're hurting, maybe they have a lot going on where they can't purchase your product right now, but you're just thinking about your wallet, so you're just going about your day. And that's why you never see that client again, and they never call back, they never inquire what you're doing or if they could ever use your services. And curiosity. My God, curiosity isn't about asking questions, people. It's about building trust with the person you're talking to. The minute you ask a secondary question, that person kind of feels like, wow, man, they're actually listening. And that is absolutely critical to what you're trying to build. It shows whether or not you actually want to become relatable. I talk about that as well. So I'm not going to run through all these attributes, but I wanted to make sure I really hit on that question. The fact, again, that I heard, and I'm not promoting ZipRecruiter, Christ, you don't need them. You just need to be a better human. You need to be polished. You need to be consistent with your practices. Waking up every day, working on yourself, then working on your personal life, and then taking a professional goal and doing that consistently. And that builds patterns of trust. And that's where clients really want to use you. That's where you start to stand out. That's where you really start to grow as a professional. Not only as a professional, but personally, all of your other relationships grow as well. I'm a dad. I've got 2 kids. They're teenagers. And I use this framework to help me become more adaptable, because I'm not perfect. In fact, I really have to work on being more adaptable. Sometimes, frankly, I suck at it, especially personally. So this framework keeps me grounded in the fact that I'm still growing too. I'm not up here preaching that I know all the answers or that I'm perfect and I have this framework down. Life is uphill. When I wrote this book, there's a reason why it goes uphill. And not straight across, because that's life. This journey that we're traveling, all of us together, we all have issues. We all have stresses. We all have things that can drive us crazy. And we can't just hold that stuff in. Sometimes you got to share it. And I did that all the time in my career. I shared it with my clients and they loved it because I was building trust the whole time. They wanted to know more about me than my brochure. And after I built that relationship, then they finally asked, Jonathan, what do you do? I'm good you ask. I'm actually trying to develop an IT consulting firm on the East Coast, or whatever the case.